or 5 or 6 curriculums, because that way we will be dispersed in so many different directions as we are. But one thing that has not happened, which is an essential part of improving the way we govern ourselves, is the local government. Because there is a need to build a very strong local government system. And we are in the process of, the law is almost ready, being given final touches. And very soon, depending on the COVID situation, we will be moving forward as far as local government system is concerned. But it is a very important part of how we govern ourselves. Now I come to my own area, which is education. There are a number of challenges that we face in the field of education. As I said, literacy rate is a problem. Out of school children is a problem. But there are other problems also. We have what I call educational apartheid, in which we have different systems of education for different segments of society. We have an elite-based education system which caters to many of us. And then we have a government school system which has unfortunately been neglected over the last 70-odd years. And then we have a religious school system, the madrasas, all having their own curriculums, all having their own certifications, all having their own, the way they are taught. And education gives you a way of understanding and looking at the world. So if you are being taught different things, then that means that there is no such thing as a collective psyche of the nation. It's a divided psyche. So we are trying to address this, and we are trying to address this through something we call the single national curriculum. We are working very closely with the provinces to make sure that all students in Pakistan have the same benchmarks, same learning outcomes for everybody, whether you're studying in a madrasa, whether you're studying in a government school, whether you're studying in a private school, you should have the same learning outcomes. We're also trying to address the question of language. Because what has happened over the years is, and we are very much products of that English has become a class. It's not just a system of education, it's a class. So we have to make sure that everybody has an opportunity which is as equal as possible. Not easy at all. If you have to, it's a transformational thing. It will take a very long time. But it has to, the journey has to be started. So the start of the journey is that our single national curriculum will be enforced, inshallah, depending on some of the challenges that we are facing because of the pandemic, by April in government schools and maybe by August in private schools. So this is going to be a big change. After 70 years that we will have a single curriculum, single benchmark, single learning outcomes for all students in Pakistan. We are also launching thank you. We are also launching special programs on out-of-school children. We are expanding the program called Wasila-e-Taleem, where especially girl children who go to school, their parents would be, as part of the cash transfers, that will be increased, the amount is being increased and the number is being increased, so we make sure that maximum number of children go to school. I'm working a lot these days on technology. We are trying to look at new technologies of how to reach children, to reach girls who don't go to school after a certain period of time, to reach out to teachers so that we can have new methodologies of teacher training. So technology is and of course during the pandemic, we have had to quickly respond, and we have a tele-school going. In another week, we will have, inshallah, a radio school going for those people who don't have access to television. So we have already developed a curriculum with the help of our partners for class 1 to 5 for a radio beaming of lessons, which will start, inshallah, within 2 weeks. We have to have major measures in the field of health. Do you know that 40% of our children are stunted by the time they reach the age of 5 because of malnutrition, because of other things? That's a huge number. Malnutrition, the stunting is of not just physical stunting, but also it sort of atrophies the brain a little bit. So, among many other measures that we are taking, we are going to expand the Sehat Sahulat card. Now look at, I'm just going to take 1 minute to, a family or a person will get 7,40,000 of free hospital treatment by the presentation of the card, not just in government hospitals, but any hospital, any private hospital, through this card. And we have decided that in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, already the decision has been made that the entire population will be covered by the Sehat Sahulat card. In Punjab, it is starting again. We are going to start with half the population and then expand it to the rest. It started with low income, but now we feel that the Sehat Sahulat card can be given to everybody. I mean, I would be happy to have a Sehat Sahulat card. Because if for 7,40,000 free treatment in any hospital of my choice, that's a huge. So major effort is being made in the field of health to bring it to at least some degree of uniformity, equal opportunity, some degree of that. The other challenge for which we have is we have to develop a caring society. We have to make sure that we reach out to those who don't have enough. So if you notice that during the pandemic, there was a major cash transfer of 150 billion rupees were distributed among the lowest income people. Each family got 12,000 rupees of cash grant, which had never happened before. So we are going to expand the cash transfers because global research has said that for the poorest of the poor, the only way to make their condition better is cash transfers. So when you combine cash transfers with Sehat Sahulat card, with Wasila-e-Taaleem, all these different programs, that means that we are reaching out to the poorest of the poor in this country. So, but we have to expand that. We are rapidly expanding something called the Panagas. What are Panagas? All those people who come for employment, let's say to Karachi, and they're looking for employment and they have no place to stay. We don't want anybody to sleep on the roads. So we are establishing these kind of, I don't know what the appropriate word is, homes, places, shelter homes, where people can go, they can sleep the night, they can get food free of cost. So the poorest of the poor. So a network of Panagas is being established around the country. Another network which was existing because Pakistan, by the way, as you all know, is a country where there is a lot of charitable giving. In fact, one of the few countries where the charitable giving is to such a high standard. So it was happening before, but we now are opening langar khanas all over the country where anybody who is hungry can go and get food to eat and get warm food to eat. So that is another thing. So we have to, in other words, establish a caring society. That is also a part of challenge we have. And we have to establish a more tolerant society. We cannot afford bigotry. We cannot afford any kind of violence on basis of differences with somebody else. And that is towards that we are moving forward. In fact, it's a reflection on our system of governance that groups can come and seize public spaces and put into jeopardy the economy, the working of a large majority of the people in that city or that place. It's a sad thing that such groups can do this. Sometimes we hear that lawyers have taken over the courts. I mean, I am a great supporter of lawyers, but taking over the courts. So this kind of challenge to governance has to be tackled. And similarly, anybody who refuses to accept differences, we have to make sure that as a diverse society like Pakistan, with different languages, different ethnicities, different religions, different sects, each have to be tolerant of those differences. And lastly, completely on the other side, we have to prepare ourselves for the challenges, the technological challenge that lies ahead. Things are changing very fast. Artificial intelligence may replace a lot of things. It may replace a lot of jobs. So we have to plan for that. One, we have to train people who can become part of this new technological revolution. And in this context, let me tell you that just before the COVID pandemic hit, our ministry had placed 50,000 students in selected institutions across the country with fully paid scholarship for high-end trades, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain. There's a lot of these things I don't personally understand very well, but they're all these things that become part of the new technological future. So we are training our people to respond to the new challenges that are going to come in our economy. So, but we also have to prepare ourselves. I mean, in the field of education, let me tell you that a huge opportunity is opened up because we are able to beam one model lecture or lesson to hundreds of schools at the same time. Just by a projector in a school, you are able to beam the best possible way of teaching, let's say, class 1. Yes, it's not interactive, but then the teacher is there to carry on. So technology is going to be playing a huge part in education, in health. Telemedicine, for example, is growing. So we have to be ready and we have to prepare ourselves. And we are ready and we are preparing ourselves. I want to assure you, there is something that Dr. Hafiz Sheikh said, which is very important. We may not be perfect. There may be many areas where sometimes you start and then you have to take 2 steps forward and a step back, where you experiment with something, where you feel that we have to do something and then realize that the challenge is of a different nature, so therefore you have to readjust your sails. But we have one commitment, and that commitment is to the people of Pakistan. There is no, in this government and under the leadership of Prime Minister Imran Khan, I can assure you one thing, that everything that is being done is not for any personal gratification. There are no businesses that we are running. Our only business is that we want to serve. And with your support, inshallah, we will be able to deliver. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, for a wonderful speech, actually, very human and extraordinary. Before we break for our first network,